Hello, everybody in Radio Entrepreneurs Land. My name again is Jeffrey Davis. I'm the host of Radio Entrepreneurs, also CEO of Mage LLC, management consulting firm in the Boston area since 1985, working with over 700 organizations and organizational leaders. I won't go into all the details, but welcome to everyone. And welcome to my guest host today. I always look forward to seeing him, Evan Macedo, VP Finance and Operations at Sapers and Wallack. Welcome, Evan. Nice to
Thank
see
you,
you again.
Jeffrey. It is a pleasure to be your trusty co-host. We interview so many wonderful business executives, and it is amazing just to hear all these stories of how all these wonderful people are helping out the community.
Oh, that's great. So let's introduce our next guests, David Berman and Sheryl Rosner, owners of Express Employment Professionals. Welcome, David and Sheryl.
Thanks so
Thanks, Jeff.
much.
So, who wants to take the first shot at telling us what EEP does? How do you like that?
Well, I'd love to, first of all, thank you for having us. We're excited to be here and to share a little bit about Express Employment Professionals and what we do. We're a franchise office for a national company. There are actually over 800 offices in 3 countries. They're the largest employer I never heard of when I took over this office here in Wellesley Hills 5 years ago. We have the support of the national organization, but we run very independently and autonomously within our small office here in Wellesley. We're a staffing company, a recruiting company, and we help organizations to fill holes and to find the talent that they're looking for. This can be an interim position to fill in for someone who might be on a leave of absence, or mostly they're full-time positions, and they lean into us to help them to find their top talent. I think most business leaders would agree that who you put on the bus is mission critical. Jim Collins in Good to Great said exactly that. It's what you do and how you do it, but it's who you put on the bus that's going to get you there. And we are a team that's really dedicated to that.
And David and Cheryl as well. Let's talk about your vetting process a little bit. And I know I've personally worked with you guys. You guys have been amazing. And as a smaller company ourselves, it just really takes a lot of work off of my back because you guys are doing a lot of the legwork. But can you talk about what you're doing on the back end just to get candidates prepped up, ready to go, so that way when they're put in front of somebody like myself, you know, we have a larger chance of success to hit a home run?
Sure. Do you want me to take that one? So we, like all businesses, when you need to hire somebody, you can use all the tools that are out there. There's Indeed, ZipRecruiter, all of the great sites that people post their resumes. But sometimes a business becomes so overwhelmed by the amount of attention their post is getting that they don't even know how to sort through, who they want to bring into the office, who they want to spend their time on. And so we do all that work for them. So we really like to find clients who don't have the time or the dedicated staff to do that legwork. And we like to serve really good fit associates up to our clients, sort of on a silver platter. We do reference checks, at least 2. We do background checks when requested by clients, and more and more, we're just looking through resumes and trying to find the right fit, knowing the culture that our clients have and whether or not different associates would fit in just based on their resume.
Well, it's all about fit and culture. And I assume you stay in business because you find the right people and the right fit. Is there a philosophy around standing behind what you do?
The philosophy is really that we partner with an organization and become an extension of their company when we go out to the field of candidates. And I think you said it. It's fit and culture. Skills and experience are important, But if the fit isn't there, if they're not the right fit, that's not going to result in a good placement. I think that the philosophy would be, please share with us as much as you can. We like to get on site and see an environment and feel what that culture is within an organization. Then we bring it back to our office, and we like to meet one-on-one with our candidates, whether it's Zoom or Teams for fully employed people or folks that can come into our office face-to-face, so that we can really get to know them. And then, like Sheryl said, present that fully rounded candidate profile around what we learned during an interview, what we learned from references, and why we think that fit is appropriate. And at that point, we allow the client to make a decision. We're kind of like a dating service. We put this candidate with the client, and then it's up to them.
And I agree 1,000% on making sure you have the right fit. I know at Sapers and Wallack, we do probably a little bit more due diligence than your average firm, because we found that we'll have people that'll stay here longer and they're happier. And one thing I hear all the time is people would gladly take a little bit less money to be at a company that they really, truly like and they're happy at, versus make a little bit more money, work their hands to the bone, and be miserable at.
And change jobs in a year to two.
Yeah. Now, I want to talk about the market a little bit. We had COVID, we had the Great Resignation, and then, people were hiring company or candidates at really high salaries with maybe not the experience you typically would get. I feel like that's kind of come down a little bit, where the employer has a little bit more say and things have leveled off. But could you speak a little bit to how you were seeing success and where the market was at last year and where you expect it to be heading as we move into 2024?
So I'll let Sheryl take that more recent experience, but I'll say that when I took over the agency 5 years ago, pre-COVID, there was single-digit sub 3% unemployment, and it was like looking for a needle in a haystack to find good candidates. Along comes COVID, and there was double-digit unemployment, and it was still really hard to find good candidates. So it seemed that our services were needed in both markets. More recently, I think that candidates have to position themselves more aggressively and prove that they're the right fit, because after the Great Resignation, I think people are coming back to start looking for jobs. And Sheryl, I think you had some good thoughts about what's going on.
Yeah, I feel like after COVID and all of the remote work, we're in this little bit of a Goldilocks situation now, trying to find the right fit between people having the autonomy to work at home and see their kids more and have all the benefits of not commuting, versus what they're missing out on and not being in a workplace, not being with colleagues and doing those water fountain talks where things just happen and sparks fly, and you're missing that. So I think, a lot of young people come into our office and they're like, I want to work at home. I want to be in my pajamas. And I'm like, why do you want to do that? You're missing it all. Like, there's so much you can gain from the experience of being in an office. So we're trying to figure out that piece of it as well. So many people call us and say, do you have any remote jobs? More often than not, our clients are saying we're open to hybrid after a certain period of time, once we get a sense of how diligent an associate is going to turn out to be, but they're not just willing to start out that way anymore. So that's one of the trends I'm seeing, is that, we're just trying to make that balance with both our clients and our associates to find a comfortable place. And I don't think we found it yet. I think we're all still working on that.
It's always a work in process. Just to briefly, last question, getting into the Wayback Machine. Can both of you give our listeners a sense of both your backgrounds?
Sure, absolutely. So I was an elementary school teacher out of college. I went back on an MBA, joined a family business. It was a trucking company. We ran that for about 6 years. And when we sold that company, I worked in some small businesses in a leadership position, helping to grow actually a small staffing company at one time. And then I joined ADP, where I was for 21 years, working with employers using technology to manage their workforce. And then they offered an early retirement, and I had the opportunity to come back to what I'm passionate about, and that's helping people. I think since teaching elementary school, I'm more driven and find more self-actualization in this staffing business because it's great when we get it right.
Right. Cheryl?
Yep. So I went straight into law school out of college and started working at the United States Environmental Protection Agency and I stayed there for 30 years, both as an attorney and a senior advisor. And when my 30 years came up, I had the opportunity to get a pension and retire. And as much as I love my job, I'm like, if I'm ever going to do something different, this is my chance. I've always had a little bit of a feeling of entrepreneurship and wanting to own my own business. And David was doing great. And I'm like, why don't I just try to jump into this? And I'm really enjoying it. I really love the immediate gratification of finding people jobs and clients finding good people. That's something I didn't have the luxury of at EPA, where you're cleaning up the air and water and land, but who knows whether what you're doing that day is really going to have an impact sometime 20 years from now.
Great.
I'll add that Cheryl is definitely the best hire that I've ever made. And I should point out that Cheryl and I have three kids, the youngest of which is just graduating college now. The other two are in the workforce. And she does a great job with young people, helping kind of guide them in their career goals. And I think recently she pointed out that so many young people today, their resumes are all over the place. They're 3 months here, 5 months there, 8 months. And she often gives advice around finding that fit where you really can find a home for a period of time. It's always nice to see 2, 3, 4 years. Our clients look for that as well. And some of these resumes that folks have that where they're jumping from job to job is often a red flag for an employer.
Well, Cheryl and David, great backgrounds. That's why I like to ask that. And clearly you have good experience that you bring to the position and diversity of knowledge. David and Cheryl, if someone's looking for either of you or the company, how would they find you?
So we're at expresspros.com/Waltham Framingham. Like I said, there are 800 offices. We're pretty easy to find if you look up the Waltham Framingham office. We can also be reached here at by phone at 781-446-6970.
Great.
Cheryl?
Yeah, also just find me on LinkedIn, Sheryl Rosner, Cheryl with an S, Rosner, and send me a message and I'm happy to connect.
Thank you. And co-host extraordinaire, how do people find you?
Well, I've said it about 100 times, but I'll say it again. You can go to sapers-wallack.com. Click on the Our Team page. You'll see my wonderful mug there and all of our wonderful employees. And if you ever would like to talk to me regarding your business or whether it's your personal finances, I'd be very happy to set up a time to speak.
Thank you very much, all three of you. And remind everybody as we close out this segment, this is Radio Entrepreneurs.